I'm a licensed marriage therapist in the state of Missouri and an ASEX certified sex therapist.
Ooh.
Woo!
That
makes me special, I think.
Oh, you are definitely a very special person.
Well, and, today's episode's actually kind of special because it's been a while.
Yeah.
Since it's just been you and me.
It has been. We've had a lot of guests on recently.
We have.
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah,
I feel like
very
when's the last
interesting
time
people.
we did this by ourselves, which is why you have to pay attention.
Oh, I have to pay attention now?
Yeah, you have to actually talk to me.
No, when we have a guest here, I can just kind of zone out and get on my computer.
Well, sometimes he's got to do the IT stuff. So, Josh will be in, and then he'll kind of insert himself elsewhere and then come back in.
Like I'm doing 3 roles all at the same time.
You really are. You're multitasking.
Like most people would not be able to do the tech side, audio side, and keep a basic conversation going with people.
Well, but lucky, usually there's another person here, so we're talking to them.
And generally when people get going, they just blah,
they
blah,
just
blah,
blah, blah,
and
blah,
after
and
about
like,
the first,
whatever.
By the 4th sentence, I've checked out in general.
Okay.
Because I already know what they're going to say.
You're like, I know what they're going to say. Tell me why you're important, right?
No, I'm kidding.
The guests we've had have been great.
They're interesting people. I've actually loved hearing all their stories. Like they're very interesting.
Well, so today, though,
what are we doing today, Angela?
Today, I want to talk about sex again because, of course, sex is fun.
On the About Sex podcast?
Oh, yeah, on the About Sex podcast, I thought it would be good for us to cover sex.
She's going outside the box by going back in the box.
Going in the box, just going basic.
Yeah.
Well, so here's what I've been thinking about and going over my couples with lately. And one of the things is that I've noticed that everybody does have a sex box. We've talked about this before.
What, a sex box?
The sex box is like this ABC of sex. Where
I thought you meant the box that we keep at the bottom of our closet that has like all the
sex toys.
Toys.
No, I'm not talking about that
not
sex
that
box.
Sex box. Got it.
No, I'm talking about a box that's limiting people's sex and the goodness of their sex or the excitement of their sex.
Okay.
And so this is the box. It looks like you kiss a little, you massage a little, somebody goes down on somebody else. Maybe you both go down on each other, and then the penis goes in the vagina.
So you get into a routine.
You get into a routine. And there's nothing wrong with the routine. I actually call it the meat and potatoes of sex. And it's okay. It's a good meat and potatoes.
Can we call it the Franks and Beans?
The Franks and Beans.
I think I prefer that because it has a Frankfurter in
Franks
there.
Franks and Beans.
It's a very phallic one.
Well, I guess so. Well, but there's no, like, it would probably be better if it was like a hot dog in the bun because, like, that's more phallic.
You're the beans.
Why am I the beans?
Anyway, you're way off base with the metaphor.
Way off base. So there's nothing wrong with meat and potato sex or Frankfurters and beans sex.
Franks and Beans.
I'm already laughing on this one. But what I've been trying to do is redefine sex so that people aren't so limited and so they're not so pressured. Mm-hmm. And so here are the rules. You want to know my rules, Josh?
What are your rules? Rule number 1.
Rule number 1 is stimulate nerve endings. That's it. And treat your whole body
like this,
like a sexual organ.
Stimulating a nerve ending. Just
stimulate a nerve ending. So you can stimulate a nerve ending by just playing with an arm. You can do it like I'll show you with a little face, a little nose. He's like, "Ooh, I'm getting stimulated."
Hi.
This is what's fun about video. I can show people stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
But just stimulate nerve endings and assume your entire body is a sexual organ because it is.
Right.
What
do people normally do? Like, are they too worried about like the goal?
Yes.
Is that the problem?
That is.
So you're trying to redefine what the goal of sex is.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. I'm trying to redefine what sex looks like and what the goals are of sex.
So what is the goal then? So it's about stimulating nerve endings.
That's one. Stimulate nerve endings. And so one reason I'm doing that is because even in that box of sex, the 1 and 2 of sex.
I love the sex box.
You like the sex box.
Yeah.
They don't spend enough time in it. They don't even spend enough time kissing and touching. Yeah. They really are rushing through the steps to get to that end goal.
Right, because it feels really good.
It does feel good.
Yeah, everybody wants an orgasm.
But it can also be kind of boring.
Oh. I love you.
I love you too.
Sure.
Like, ah. And so that rule is meant to like slow people down and to see their whole body as an organ and to start stimulating the nerve endings everywhere.
Right.
Like how can
you
you stimulate nerve endings on your feet? How can you stimulate them on your legs or your back or your butt? I heard there's a kneading of the buttocks that can happen.
The kneading of the buttocks does occur occasionally.
I learned that from, what was it,
Monty
the Monty
Python.
Python movie. So that's rule number 1.
The meaning of life.
The meaning of life.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to give a reference to the quote, right?
Well, they were actually doing sex education.
Oh yeah.
That's
you
why
should tell them the scene. It's so funny.
It's a pretty famous scene. It's like,
Sure.
in The Meaning of Life. It's John Cleese is standing up in front of a group of like teenage boys, around 13, 14.
And it was a private school.
It's a private school, and he's asking them very frankly, like, what are the steps? And they're like, how do you turn a woman on? They're like, the kneading of the buttocks.
Well, somebody started with the clitoris first. He's like, how about a kiss? Give her a kiss first.
And then John Cleese, after they say all these different things, he's like, how about you start with a kiss?
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what you're saying right now.
Exactly.
Is start with a kiss.
Rule number 1
Slow
is
down.
we'll just start with stimulate nerve endings.
Yeah.
And find a way
Also,
to do
he
that
has
in
sex
a
with his
unique
wife
way.
in front of all.
Oh, he does. He has sex with his wife in front of an
in
entire
middle
group
school.
of boys, and they look very bored, which I don't think would happen.
Oh, people are always bored in school.
Not with sex.
Yeah, they
Nobody's
still are.
bored with sex.
They're teenagers.
Oh, they're all dead inside.
So John Cleese was right. How about it start with a kiss?
Start with some
Start with
kissing.
something else.
Well, and what I've been doing to play with couples on this is I say, okay, like sensate focus is a common skill that I have people do where we get people focusing on temperature, texture, and pressure.
And taste.
You can focus on taste. Well, that's texture, taste.
Like barbecue sauce.
Well,
A little bit of
he
ranch
always
dressing.
wants barbecue sauce. I don't want barbecue sauce on my body, Josh.
Well, I'm the one that's licking it off. So I think my opinion matters too.
I guess your opinion matters, but it makes me want barbecue meat.
Maybe later.
Maybe later. Woo!
We had ribs recently. Yeah.
We did. Oh, we went to that great restaurant.
Sugar fire. Yeah.
But so anyhow, like even with sensate focus, it's still trying to encourage that same goal of like, okay, if you're touching, in sensate focus, they even suggest you avoid boobs, butts, and genitals.
Just avoid all the actual
Initially at level 1 for a good
zones.
10 to 20 minutes to learn how to stimulate the other parts of the body.
Right.
Because one thing it does actually, if you slow that down, is when you do stimulate the genitals finally, they are like really
They're
into
ready
what's
to go.
happening.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And that's a tactic I learned early on is like rub everywhere else except where there.
Except
and
the goal.
You get near it, you're like, oh,
yeah, you
maybe I'll
tease
dance a little.
around.
No.
Nope. You
can't have this. You can't have this. Yeah. I love you.
But it's sexy and it makes it tease and fun and like it's great. And even guys, like, so even though guys definitely enjoy like penis and vagina intercourse, like they get a lot out of waiting to do it too. I hear from men across like the board that like their orgasms end up being more intense when they finally do get there. They really enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's rule 1.
Rule number 1.
Rule number 2 is focus on what's fun and pleasurable. That's it.
These are very simple rules.
They seem simple, but they're not. Because when I tell
But the first
people,
rule contradicts the second rule.
well, you're stimulating nerve endings.
But you're on the second rule, you're saying focus on what feels
What's
good.
pleasurable and fun. So
Which
when you
is-
stimulate nerve endings,
Sure.
you're focusing on what feels good and what you're having fun doing.
Sure.
This is why I have this rule. So what people
But what's
are...
the difference? Okay.
Well, go on. What are you going to say?
What do you mean focus on what's fun? Like what
What's
are this
on
what
fun
how do you
pleasurable?
what is a step you would take toward that?
So what people are often thinking about when they're having sex is those next steps. What do I need to do to get to step, like
not
I
in the
told you,
moment.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. So like they're thinking, oh, what do I need to be doing to make sure this person's getting off? What do I need to be doing to get to
Then it's work.
penis and vagina intercourse? How do I like get my erection
So it's
going?
almost
What
like
about-
you're making a to-do list and you're getting a chore done.
Yeah.
That sounds not fun.
Yeah, and a lot of people are having sex that way. Or
Yeah.
they're putting pressure on themselves. Another thing they're not doing.
A lot of
is
guys do that.
They're like, oh, is it
Performance
working? Am I doing
anxiety.
it right?
Yeah.
Is she liking it? Is not. And they don't
Is this
even-
the right amount of time?
There's
Is it
no moment
Yeah.
where they'll think, am I enjoying this? How's this feeling for me?
Oh yeah, those are always the best ones. Yeah.
Those are the best ones when you get lost in the moment. And so while it seems normal and like common sense, a lot of people aren't doing it. They're doing the opposite.
I think there's a lot of pressure for guys to
Yeah.
please their woman.
Oh,
And there's
of course.
we talked about this before, the myth of like every time you have sex you have to have an orgasm
Yep.
mutually at the same exact time.
Oh, which never happens.
Which you have to synchronize your watches to the second, and it's like at 12 past 1 we will orgasm in synchronicity.
You will orgasm now. Well, actually, even
Yeah.
in certain shows or like, what was it? The book, the 50 Shades of Grey book. He like tried to like tell her when she could orgasm, and she magically orgasmed when he told her she could. And I was like, yeah, that wouldn't work out.
Well, I haven't read the book or seen it, but like your first step if you are doing a lot of teasing like that and kind of leading up to it, and he is holding it back, I think you have a better chance of doing it.
Maybe you have a better chance.
Maybe
of
after
building up
hours
to it.
and hours.
You might get tired after hours and hours.
But
though.
some women are able to orgasm a lot easier than others.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And some men are.
Depends
It
on
depends
the
on
man.
the
It depends
person.
on the woman.
Yeah.
Some people take longer. Some people take shorter. But the big thing is that a lot of my couples aren't paying attention to what's feeling good for them personally. They're so focused either on the other person or their performance that they're missing out on like really half of the good stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why that's rule number 2.
Don't miss out on the good stuff.
I know. Don't miss out on the good stuff. Like relax, be in the moment, not just stimulate nerve endings, but feel them fire. That's essentially what I'm having you do.
Pew. You were
And
trying to
then-
be mindful.
Yes. Oh, and mindfulness, in case you haven't learned
therapists
about
love
it.
that word.
I know. We love mindfulness.
Yeah.
Basically, mindfulness is try to be in the present moment. Don't be in the future. Don't be in the past.
And don't be too in your head worrying about what you're currently doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really feel every sensation. And all of your senses are sight, smell, taste, touch, and
Hear. Sound.
ears. Your hearing. You know, when I did that, it really reminded me of when we have these
Yeah.
conversations with our daughter and we're like, where's your eyes?
We don't have this conversation with our
this
daughter.
conversation, like eyes,
The
nose,
eyes, yep. We are teaching her.
all her body parts. But for a moment, I was thinking of that.
Yeah,
one.
and she always says eyes and pokes
Eyes
me
in
in
the-
the eye to point to my eye.
She does
I'm like,
poke
yep,
you in
that's
your eye. You're
daddy's
like,
eye.
Yeah, you got daddy's
That's
eye.
why I
Thank
have had,
you.
what is it called? Pink eye.
Pink eye.
Since she started doing that.
She didn't
Got
mean
that
to
once.
give you pink eye. She's just learning about eyeballs.
She wasn't as good at washing her hands at that age either.
No, we've learned a lot since then.
Yeah, that's
So
funny.
finally, rule
Yeah,
number
what were
3.
we talking about?
We were talking about the rules of redefining
Somehow
sex.
we got into somebody poking
each
me in the
other's
eye.
Well,
Yeah.
to each his own, dear. To each his own.
No.
If you want to poke each other's eyes, far be it from me to stop
I
you.
don't think anybody wants that.
I know, right?
No.
That'd be like the worst form of sexual interaction. Like, I'm just going to poke you in the eye. Ouch.
Yeah. No thanks.
No, thank you. Yeah.
Not a
Okay.
fan.
So rule number 3 then is, if you want to have an orgasm, you can choose to do it for yourself, but it's your responsibility. That doesn't mean you can't ask your partner for help and guide them how to help you, but ultimately it's your personal responsibility to get to an orgasm.
Yeah. And it's not your responsibility to get the other person.
Yeah.
It goes both ways.
Well, and it's
It
it's
is
both
their problem.
ways.
That's your problem.
And that's not quite what that means.
I'll help. But you're in charge of
It
that.
just means that basically what it changes is only you feel your body. You're the only one who's in there. Only you're the one who knows how to get yourself
Unless
to that
you're
next
possessed
spot. Unless
by a demon. And in which case,
oh god.
you can both feel your body sometimes, I think.
Yes. So how do we get to demonology here, Josh?
It just happened.
That just happened.
That just happened.
No, so it doesn't mean that like while you're having sex, if your penis is in a vagina and it's happening, it's feeling good, that she's not a part of you getting your orgasm, but really it's about you. It's about you deciding where that penis needs to go, how it needs to charge this way or that way, or for the vagina, which is more complex, people. I really want to put it out there. The vagina is so different. But
Is it
she's a
though?
great lady.
She's a great lady, but
But like if you make it all up to the other person for them to give you your orgasm, then it's very hard because men don't own vaginas, and even other women, if you're lesbians, don't own your vagina. So they know what will feel good for their vagina, but you still have to guide them in what will feel good for your vagina.
Right.
So you're responsible for your own orgasm, and that means either coaching your partner on how to get you there, or coaching them in how they can touch you and make you feel good while you get yourself there. Or doing it by yourself and just watching, because that's hot too.
it's like, it's time to watch. Yeah.
It's time. Well, why not?
Yeah, might
But
as
you know
well.
what's funny? Like many couples, when I tell them that, they'll be like, "What? Like, what do you mean? Like, you can do it differently?"
Because everybody's in that same mode, it seems.
They're in the same box.
Yeah.
Everybody's in the same box.
Everybody's been put into a box.
Yeah, and the box is that if you don't get it through penis and vagina intercourse or through the oral sex that's happening, then you just kind of got to deal with it.
Then you just don't have an orgasm.
You just don't have an orgasm.
Well, that's no fun.
Yeah, or you put a lot of pressure on somebody to get it right, but you don't give them any coaching or guidance for how to do it.
And that creates performance anxiety and a whole host of other problems.
Exactly. Or the person who's trying to get there. So usually it's a female, but honestly, it's a male. Men get this too. But they'll be like, "Why am I not getting an orgasm? What's wrong? Is there something wrong with me for how long it's going? What should I do?" Or maybe it's lasting too. Like this is the
they
head.
get more into their head, and that makes it even worse.
Yeah. And then they can't get an orgasm.
Yeah.
Because what you
anxiety about not being able to get an orgasm makes it harder for you to get an orgasm.
It does.
Same thing with erectile dysfunction.
Yep.
Anxiety about getting it will make it worse.
And when I use these rules for all of those problems, whether it's ED, premature ejaculation, painful intercourse, orgasmic disorders for females, it works.
It works.
It works.
3 simple rules.
It works. And it's crazy. Like I literally had couples just recently. I started giving them this rule, and literally the next week they were having better sex.
You solved all their problems in one week.
Well, there's always so many problems when people come in to see me. It's never just like one. Oh, just fix it. They say it is. They say it's just one thing, but then it's always like 50 things, and you're like, okay, let's delve into these other things so you can be happy too.
Right.
I do want you to have good sex.
You want people to be happy, Angela?
I do.
That's a bunch of bull.
Happy.
You're always trying to make people be happy and
it's
content.
really a goal in my life. I love people, and I love them being happy and seeing them like enjoy each other and connect and be happy.
What if
Why can't you guys do this?
Well, some people aren't happy.
Well, it's actually kind of complex, and I think that culture isn't like teaching people how to do it very well.
I think a lot of adults struggle with that. They feel like they're supposed to be quote unquote happy, and they don't really know what that means.
Yeah.
Like I've known a lot of adults who struggle with that, but this 3-step program I think will help with that. It's
at least with the sex
it's
part.
like the goal is not to be happy. It's just be present. That's it.
Well, I think presence is part of being happy. Like I have this kind of joke about this, but like anxiety is future thinking. I don't know if it's a joke. It's just a statement. Anxiety is future thinking, and
worrying about the
depression
future
is regret. It's like it's past thinking.
Yeah, they're the same thing.
But they're both like not being just in this moment. Like right now,
it's just self-doubt.
Yeah. Like right now, what are we doing? We're sitting. We're talking to each other. We're holding each other every now and then.
Hi.
I like you.
And I know you.
And if you can be fully present in this experience, actually there is happiness.
Oh, yeah.
But like what people are doing, I was saying this the other day, like, okay, when you're playing with your kids, are you actually just thinking about, oh, well, this deadline, I got to get this other thing done, or, oh, crap, I forgot to do this, instead of like really playing hide and seek with your kids?
Yeah. I think both of us struggle with that too.
Of course we do.
That's the reality, is that like when you have a lot going on in your life, like you're gonna be in your head sometimes.
What you're saying, you're not like in the present moment like 100% of the time?
100% no. And I don't know if we've been, I don't know if every generation deals with this, but like I feel like we've been trained to do that because we constantly have access to our phones.
Yeah.
And like people are, if they're bored for a single second, they'll just flip their phone out and just check out. And it kind of trains you to constantly need that stimulation, I think.
Well, maybe that's what they think, is that stimulation is what's going to make you happy. But what we found is the opposite.
No, Facebook just makes everything worse.
It does. There's like a Facebook depression effect.
The Facebook effect
is
where you see everybody on Facebook posting all these great things about, they post pictures of their kids. They'll post pictures of them on vacation. They'll post all these great things, but they don't post like the negative things. Majority of people will censor out negative things from Facebook because honestly, people don't want to hear that crap.
Well, but
that's the reality. Is like a lot of times you post something like that, you either get ignored or people are like, stop whining. Nobody wants to hear it.
Probably depends on your friends. But
like my friends would say, stop. You're fine.
But you know what? I feel like that's tragic because actually when I feel the closest to people, friends to you, is when we can share vulnerable moments. Right. Like when we can be
and that's
raw or
it's
weak.
Hard to do that in a public forum like that.
Yeah,
like
maybe that's part of it.
Honestly,
like,
hi.
Well, we're not going that vulnerable, but maybe we should sometimes. But I don't know. Like, the truth is that
we even censor what we talk about on here.
What's that?
We even censor what we talk about on here.
Well, sure, because this is a show, but like we don't censor when we're with each other, and we do try to talk about things that we're struggling with.
Sure.
And maybe that's what the challenge is that people are trying to get this connection through Facebook that you really can't fabricate. You have to.
It's human face-to-face contact with your phone put away. You know, I have to
Oh my
say, like,
gosh.
one of my favorite times is actually when we go to somewhere like Lost Valley Lake, where
Oh yeah.
you don't get good reception there at all. So you just turn your phone off and put it away, and somehow I feel really relaxed. Like, I love going on hikes and nature walks for that reason, because you get out there in the woods and nobody's going to call you. You have no reception. You're good.
Every one of my couples will say that when they really do a vacation and like they really cut things off, those are their favorite times.
Yep.
And it's because of this. It's because you actually like stop
You have to
playing
constantly
on your
feel
phone.
like you're on.
You
Yeah.
pay attention to what you're seeing. Like if you see a site, you're like, wow, that's cool. You may take a picture, but that is about as far as they go.
Yeah,
or
we
they
use
may
it for
use the
pictures.
GPS to get places.
Yeah.
Like that's what people will say to me. But
They use it
beyond
for a
that,
tool. Yeah.
they're in it.
They're not trying to use their phone for entertainment. as
Yeah.
much while they're there.
Well, and essentially that's what I've been telling my couples is you need to find a way to do that every day. But you know what's crazy? Even
How do you do that?
Well, I'm trying to get people to
I definitely
disconnect
struggle with that. Well,
for at least
everything.
an hour a day.
It's oh yeah,
That's my
interesting.
goal.
We should turn our phones
With
off at
all
8.
of my couples. Well, we do actually. We get it every night before bed. You and I cuddle.
Yeah.
At least an hour, sometimes 2 hours, depending on how jib jabby.
Oh,
and he's
last
like,
night
he'd
it was like 3 hours.
And I'm like, honey, I love you, but now I gotta get some sleep.
Yeah.
But it's true, you do. You'll talk and I'll talk, and that's like no phones are
No
around.
phones,
We're
yeah.
just hanging out.
Yeah.
No TV,
Wait,
no
will-
iPhones.
Wait, will people actually like be in bed with their phone?
Yes.
And just ignore each other?
Yep.
So romantic.
I know.
I'm not trying to shame anybody, but
No,
like
but it's
that-
totally happening.
like we have our own connection to technology. It's definitely addictive, but
sure.
I wouldn't want to be like I've heard of people who do it while they're having sex.
What? They're on their phones?
They're on their phones during sex. They will. There are a certain number
Not to
of
watch
people.
porn.
There are a certain number of people who will respond to texts and calls while they're having sex. Generally, it's the women.
You're about to say while they're on their partner.
While they are on their partner or being mounted by their partner. That is 100%
That
a
is
real
so
thing.
Weird. Why?
We have to ask them. I don't know.
People, why are you on your phones
It's
when you're
addictive.
having sex?
Now they're bored
God. That's because they're not using
because
my
they're
rules.
not using the 3 rules. So maybe the 4th rule should be turn your damn phone off and leave it in the other room. If you really want
Those are
to.
some context
Yeah.
rules, yeah. Well,
Well,
but
I
even going back to the rule, one thing we didn't cover that I did want to cover is
Okay.
that choice.
Choice.
So, like, I think that people
What
feel
choice?
pressured if they don't get an orgasm, too.
Sure.
Like, if I didn't have an orgasm, I'm a failure. And you know what? That's not necessarily true. If
No.
you had a good experience, whether or not you had an orgasm, you had sex.
You still had fun.
Well, and this works actually for both men and women.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for men who've struggled with delayed ejaculation, the only ones that I know that have really survived it well, like the delayed ejaculation is something that's not easily treatable. There aren't really good.
Explain it.
Okay, so delayed ejaculation is where a man. Sorry. No, it's okay. He's choking. He drank down the wrong pipe. Everybody's had that experience.
I have allergies, so it's like, ugh.
No worries, right?
Yeah.
Well,
I
so,
just don't
like,
want to hack into the
He's
mic.
getting close, but he just can't quite get there. And then sometimes in that process, he may lose his erection too, or it may just
Yeah.
get half cocked
So
or
they'll
partial.
be having sex, but they can't reach that peak.
Yeah, and it's feeling good. We call it the plateau
They
phase
plateau,
of
yeah.
sex, where it's like
Where it can
it
still
feels
feel good,
nice,
but they
just can't quite
Get to that next level.
Exactly. And females have this experience too.
Right. And there are
Where
different things that can cause it. Like
Yeah.
sometimes it's muscle spasms, sometimes it's
Pain.
just sensitivity, like diabetic neuropathy. Different
Sometimes
things
it's
can cause it.
medication. Certain antidepressants
yeah.
can cause it.
So if you're having any sexual side effects and you're taking any antidepressants, call your doctor.
But
Like
people
real.
who don't have any medical issue necessarily sometimes still have it. And so
And it can be anxiety. Well, even those
Well-
people who do have a medical problem,
Yeah.
the anxiety makes it worse.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, but so if the orgasm is a choice, then that means they can just enjoy whatever they do. And the
Yeah.
guys that I know that like
can just be
actually,
intimate, yeah.
Yeah, they make that conscious choice that like they accept themselves. They say, you know what? If I get an orgasm, cool. If I don't, I'm still gonna have fun.
Yeah.
And when they make that choice, those are the guys who actually have great sex, even with delayed
And they end up getting
orgasms.
more orgasms?
They
Or-
it's
Or
still
they
hit or
just
miss
have
because
happier.
delayed orgasm is one of those that's actually very challenging to
Mm-hmm.
treat, but they have better sex.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think it necessarily makes them have more or less orgasms, but it makes it so that they don't feel like a failure
They're
every time they
feeling-
don't orgasm.
I see. So they're going in there and they're feeling happy coming out
Yeah,
of it.
they're like, hey, I had a good time. This was fun. And that's really what this is all about, is that I don't care what sex
Mm-hmm.
people are having, so long as they end it feeling like, That was nice.
Right. You don't want to walk away frustrated going,
I'm a failure. There's something wrong with me. Why couldn't I?
What
and
are you
it's like,
doing, Timothy?
You guys are putting too much pressure on this, guys. That's not what sex is about.
Yeah.
Like, that's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
And all of that takes it out of like being this really cool experience.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to be distracted.
You don't
Or
want to
on
be
your
distracted.
phone.
Or on your phone. Yeah, like you can't. I don't know how
have
you're
to
going to
say,
stimulate
like-
nerve endings with the phone. I don't know.
Well, it's stimulating your optic, your
I guess your
optic
brain.
nerve. Like, yeah, like you are stimulating a nerve.
It's really taking you out of the situation.
It is.
Unless you're really watching something sensual or sexy to kind of like add to the situation.
Right.
Or using a truth or dare app. Because there are sexy apps that are meant to like make things
Make it
more
more
playful or
fun,
fun.
yeah.
But like other than that, no, I don't think the phone should be there.
You don't think they should be looking up Facebook photos that their mom posted?
Are they going to be sexy photos?
Not at all.
Not
It has
at
nothing
all.
to do with what they're talking about, what they're doing. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Wait, your mom's photos? No, they're not going to be sexy
No,
photos.
usually she's doing sign language. Because my
Exactly.
mom's deaf, so she's
Yeah.
like doing these little videos teaching people sign.
Yeah, it's fun.
No, but like that I think is a problem. Is so like what the question you were asking me earlier, like
Oh,
what
I
am I
don't
trying to do to get people out of like into more of a vacation mode and
Mm-hmm.
being more present? I am trying to convince me to go offline for an hour every
Yeah.
night, and you don't know how much like
How people push back on that.
That's the word I was looking for.
Well,
I'm getting for
You
it.
know, we actually recently canceled our cable. Like, there were other reasons for us to cancel it, but we canceled our cable because we found we were getting into a rut.
A TV
where we
rut.
would come home,
Yep.
we would turn on the TV, watch 2 to 3 hours of TV,
Yeah.
and then go
Like,
to bed.
that was the way we
would
spent
eat
time
dinner,
together.
You know, and that's it.
And it's not to say you can't have a show. I mean, we do have our Game of Thrones nights, and now we're doing Westworld,
Right.
which is totally awesome. But
But we limit.
we
We
limit
cut it back a little bit.
And there's other things we do. Like we do this podcast together. We paint together.
Oh yeah, it's
And we
fun.
even do.
I did that.
We do choir. We do choir together. Like
Yeah.
we've been putting more effort into spending time together with
Yeah.
hobbies.
Oh
being
yeah,
out of
and
the
if you don't
TV.
know, Angela has some pipes. Like she's
Oh, thanks.
an amazing singer.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah,
It's true though.
It's totally true. They we joined this choir last semester, and they had some solos that you could try out for. So she tried out for them, and she got one.
Oh,
She
yeah, I
totally
did.
her first time being in this choir. Who are these? It's an older crowd actually, and most of them have been in there for 20 years or something. And this new young gal comes in and
Well,
wows
but
them.
I mean, like
They
think
loved
of
it.
even that though. Like even in this choir, where I think there should be younger people there too. It's
Mm-hmm.
only people who are really retired, and I mean, there are some younger people here or there, but I think that couples are missing out on life. Like,
Mm-hmm. Well, I
they're
think it's
so
hard when
busy.
you have a kid. Like
It
a lot
is.
of people our age, we have
Sure,
we have a daughter.
We have a daughter.
We luckily have a daycare that goes till 10, or we wouldn't be able to do it. Like
That's true.
Yeah, so we're able to just schedule it.
Well,
That
but
day.
I know couples that they can't afford a babysitter, and they really just don't make each other a priority.
Yeah,
And I think that's what leads people to having more trouble in their relationships. It's not just anger or conflict issues or not being able to communicate. I think some of it is just that you're not spending time with each other. Quality time where you like laugh together and enjoy each other's company. Like me and you.
well, sometimes it's easier than others. I mean, that's the reality
So
of marriage.
that's true.
We've been married 10 years. There's definitely been times where I did not want to laugh with you.
Fair enough. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
it's
That's
10
true.
years. There's good times
10
and
years
bad.
is good times
Like
and
we
bad times.
took the vow for good and bad. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
And you work through the bad.
You do. It's hard, but when that bad seems to go on for a long time, you gotta mix it up a bit. And I think us cutting the cable really did mix it up in a
Yeah, that was
positive
one way
way.
we tried to like spend time together and say, let's do the good stuff with each other again too.
Yeah.
But what I see my couples do is, one, they get really busy with kids and work, and I understand that. But then, like them as a couple, just gets further and further lower on that to-do list
Of
like,
importance.
of
Their
importance.
partner becomes a lower
They
priority.
become nothing, like
Yeah.
or like very little. Like we're co-parents or
Yeah.
nothing,
It's more they're like,
or roommates.
He's kind of poking me. He wants to.
Like,
or
you want to
she's-
be inside me
yeah,
again.
exactly. That's the only time he comes sniffing around.
And if you don't have these fun times, like like TV is fine, but what if they're not even cuddling? Like some people literally are sitting on opposite ends of the couch. They don't even talk to each other through these shows.
They don't play Remote Cup.
They don't play Remote. Oh, tell them about Remote Cup.
So Remote
Josh.
Cup is a game.
I love this game.
I invented when she was in
our first year of marriage.
It was our first year of marriage. She was in a master's program, and we had one cup and we had one TV remote.
And we
always shared
we used to always
a
share
cup of
our
water,
cups.
so that I didn't have to go fill it up all the time. She would fill it up half the time. You know.
Oh, I know. It was splitting.
But the way the game is played is you just call Remote Cup, you declare Remote Cup, and then the goal of the game is to have both the remote and the cup.
And
so you reach for it, and generally one of us will grab one and one grab the other.
Yeah, I would get the remote, he'd get the cup,
and then
or
the game is
ways.
still going. And eventually one person forgets they're playing and sets
and
it
then
down.
They set it down.
And then you grab it and you claim, I have won.
Such
so
a dumb
stupid.
game. I loved this game.
We were really bored in Oregon.
Or were we really creative?
You're generally more creative when you're bored.
Well, you know what, though? That they say that there's an art to boredom, and I think people have better sex when they're bored.
Oh, yeah.
And they have better lives when they allow a space for boredom.
Yeah.
And that's what these iPhones and things are basically trying to
Smartphones,
keep
video
people from
games,
is boredom.
television.
But actually,
screens.
boredom's not a terrible thing, you know?
No.
Sometimes in boredom comes creativity, like Remote Cup.
Like, I think, like, with me, like, I've been so trained to need a screen to feel, like, entertainment. Like, now that I've kind of retrained myself to get joy from just being in the woods where there's nothing, where it's the quiet.
Yeah, hiking.
Like,
that's another thing we've been
now
doing. It's
when
so amazing.
Now when I'm around like a loud environment and I'm not in the woods, I'm kind of annoyed. I'm like, why are we not? Can we just? I just want to leave my BMW behind and run off into the woods. Like I feel that, you know.
Frozen caveman.
Nobody knows that
line
reference
so much.
from our generation.
Some people do.
That's totally 70s or 80s. Yeah.
It was the 90s,
Was
Josh.
it the 90s?
Yeah.
Was Phil Hartman the 90s?
Yeah, our friend just posted that phrase, and I was like, oh my God, am I the only? I thought I was the only one who knew it.
That's like 20 years ago.
Yeah, it is.
Or more.
Well, so anyhow, just
Anyway,
to recap the 3 rules,
topic.
and I think we're at a good space for the podcast.
Because we really got on a bunny trail
got
there.
on some bunny trails, and that's fine. This is all about relationships,
So the
right?
3 rules.
Rules.
To make
Stimulate
your
nerve
sex
endings.
life
To make your sex
simplify
life amazing.
and better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stimulate nerve endings. Focus on what's fun and pleasurable. And if you want to get an orgasm, it's your choice. You can ask for help, but ultimately it's your responsibility to get
You don't have to have one.
You don't have
You
to have one to have
cannot
good
have one,
sex.
or you can.
if you want.
Sure.
But it's your choice.
But it's your job to get you there.
Yeah.
Because generally you're the best
And
at
you can
getting it there.
you can still ask for help.
Oh, yeah.
But you've got to get yourself
Like you can
there.
say, here, you hold the water hose. And then I'll get to it.
Or you finger me while I use a vibrator.
Yeah, sure. Or you get the salmon and start hitting me in
Why
the back
is
with
the
it.
salmon
I'm
involved?
just trying to think of the silliest things in the way that you can assist.
You get the riding crap.
Oh, yeah, the riding
and
crap.
I'll get the dildo.
Easy there, clip clop. I love you.
All right, thank you guys for joining us.
Thanks
and
for joining
as always,
us.
hold on. If you want to, remember I do my little
Sure.
things.
Oh,
so
yeah,
if
do
you
your
want to
thing.
do therapy with me, it's www.therapistintlouis.com.
Yeah.
And I do have 2 cool speeches coming up. I am going to put them
yeah,
out
what's
there.
happening?
So MMHCA, October 12th through the 14th. I'm the keynote speaker. And the topic is innovative impact. How to use your therapeutic gifts to change the world. And so I have 3 things I'm going to teach people: how to be innovative, how to make an impact, and of course, how to change the world.
Yeah. You got it.
That's my
You
job.
nailed it.
Change the world right now.
Yeah.
That's
Awesome.
that's Josh's statement, and I love it.
Yeah. Save the world. Go.
Go. Well, I did with my 3 rules.
Yeah.
See?
So what's the other speak?
Oh, the other speech is at WashU. It's 2 weeks after it. I'm speaking on Friday afternoon on infidelity. And we're going to have a few. So my book's coming out in January.
Yeah.
They told me it will be out January 2018.
Oh, wow. That soon.
I
Okay.
know,
So
it's
what's the
coming
title?
soon. So it's Helping Couples Overcome Infidelity, a Therapist's Manual.
Yeah.
And so that particular speaking engagement at WashU is going to be about that book and how to train people through infidelity.
Yeah, and we're planning to do like a whole series of episodes that are focusing on different topics that have to do with infidelity. And that's going to be a hard topic.
That's going to be a hard
and
topic.
because nobody wants to talk about
No, it's difficult.
People go to therapists to talk about it for a reason, because nobody wants to talk about it.
It's a pretty common reason for people to come in for therapy.
We're going to try to find some guests that are relevant to that, and then we're going to have some where it's just us talking, and it'll be interesting. And we're going to talk about your book, and I actually want to hear the details of it. Can't wait to get a copy.
All right.
That's
Sounds
awesome.
great, babe.
So you can find us on Facebook. Yep. You can find us on YouTube, and you can find us on iTunes, where it'd be great if you could review us. Please do. Anyway, have a good night, everybody.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye, Internet.
Bye.
Goodbye.